This interview was never meant to be seen by the general public. And yet, here we are, reading these words. They say it was recorded in the spring of 1930 by a journalist whose name has been lost to time. The document was recently discovered in the archives of a New York library, hidden between the pages of an old volume titled Electricity and Ether. On the last page, a note: "Do not publish until humanity is ready." If you think you know everything about Carl Jung, you may be mistaken. He was not merely a renowned psychiatrist who studied the mysteries of the unconscious and the symbols that emerge from it. Jung was someone who dared to look beyond the boundaries of the ego into what dwells in the shadow and the archetypes, dimensions of a reality that to this day many avoid confronting. "Mr. Jung," began the journalist, amidst the legends and symbols surrounding his figure, "it is said that you believe in the existence of a collective soul and in life after death. Is this true?" There was a profound silence, as if anticipation itself were holding its breath. Then, in a whisper, almost like a breath from within, Jung replied, "I believe. Not just believe, and I know." His words resonated as a declaration that transcended reason, as if Jung could see beyond the veil into a dimension where everything is energy, symbol, and consciousness simultaneously. Everything you see, everything you feel is an illusion of density, a manifestation of the collective unconscious, a projection of our archetypes and the shared psyche. "Matter," he said, "is nothing but condensed light, a vibration that takes form so that we may explore our innermost depths." Vibrations, Jung claimed, are not merely physical. They are expressions of consciousness, memory, and soul. "But how does science explain this?" asked the journalist, in awe of the boldness. Jung smiled serenely, a smile carrying the weight of the mysteries yet to be revealed. "Science is only beginning to understand," he responded. "Cracks are forming in the wall of the unknown, and a new light begins to emerge from within. This light, I believe, is the expression of the self, the core that resides within each of us." He paused, as if listening to invisible voices. In his gaze you could sense a greater certainty, just like an energy that is never lost, he claimed. "When a person dies, their essence, their soul, if you will, does not vanish. It transforms. It transcends." In the manuscript, a footnote appears, perhaps a reminder of what he was about to reveal. "The soul is a vibration of consciousness that crosses time and space. Nothing is lost in the absence of the physical body." Jung then began speaking, more rapidly, as if eager to share what he knew, to pass on his knowledge to those willing to listen. "We are like lamps," he explained. "There is a source inside us, a luminous spark. When that light goes out, the lamp is extinguished, but the source that fuels it continues to shine on a different plane, at a different level of existence." According to him, the energy, what we call the soul, never dies. It can migrate, transform, migrate to levels of existence that science has yet to fully map. The session was interrupted by a sudden shift in the atmosphere, as if a now-pulk echo of his message had triggered an invisible passage, a connection that defies rational understanding. The silence that followed was thick, almost tangible. The journalist found himself overwhelmed by a feeling that he was witnessing something more than just words, a glimpse into a hidden realm of the psyche. Jung's eyes seemed to reflect an inner universe, a vast landscape of symbols, memories, and archetypes waiting to be explored. "The first proof," Jung continued softly, "is about out-of-body experiences. I have worked with powerful magnetic fields, and one day I found myself outside my physical body. My consciousness was in the city while my body remained in the laboratory. I saw streets, people, and objects, and later, these observations were confirmed in detail." He paused, as if reliving that moment. "This is not fantasy. It is the separation of consciousness, the transcending of the physical ego into something greater, the collective aspect of the psyche that exists beyond the limits of the body." Jung's voice grew calmer, yet more intense. "If such a separation is possible in life, it can also happen after death. The spirit, the soul, is simply experiencing another dimension of reality. His next point was about the remnants of thoughts, emotions, and impressions left in objects, what he called psychic residue, or numinous impressions. The second proof, he explained, is the electrical memory embedded in things, in spaces, in places. When you enter an old house and feel an inexplicable wave of emotion, whether anxiety or peace, you are sensing a trace left by previous inhabitants. Space remembers. The universe is like a vast canvas recording every thought, emotion, and event, an archetypal archive beyond our immediate perception. The journalist eagerly scribbled notes, realizing the depth of what he was hearing. Jung's insights suggested that the universe itself was a living, conscious record, an enormous tapestry woven from imprints of all that has ever existed. Imagine, Jung said, closing his eyes briefly, the music of light, vibrations that are not physically audible but resonate as the language of the soul. Every living thing emits a unique harmony, a symphony. When the body dies, that sound does not simply vanish, it persists. Sometimes it can be sensed, glimpsed through subtle perceptions. He approached a strange device resembling an antenna, woven with wires and delicate petals. I have tried capturing these residual vibrations not as noise but as sensations, as if someone no longer here in physical form is nearby, trying to communicate. The journalist couldn't contain his curiosity. If all of this is true, then why is there such silence about it? Why isn't science talking openly about the soul? Jung looked at him with a gentle, tragic expression. Because the truth is dangerous, he answered softly. In a world built on the fear of death, the knowledge that the soul continues, that death is just a transition, destabilizes everything we believe in. If we understand that we are eternal, then the current structures of power, domination, and control fall apart. We must be cautious. The truth can explode the foundations of our reality. He waved his hand as if feeling an invisible fabric of unseen dimensions. The third proof is about the connection between souls. I once fainted at the exact moment. My friend in Europe passed away. Later, I received a letter confirming the precise date, as if our consciousnesses are linked beyond time and space. Death does not sever that connection. It merely transforms it. The journalist was silent, absorbing this profound idea. Jung's words suggested a web of eternal bonds, unseen but undeniably present. And the fourth proof, Jung continued, with a quiet certainty, are the dreams that come true. Not predictions, but authentic conversations with those who have crossed over. Sometimes the same images appear to different people, in different countries and on the same night. That's a bridge between worlds, a corridor into the other side. He looked directly into the journalist's eyes. If you think this is mysticism or superstition, consider this. It is science, just science we haven't yet understood. Jung's gaze grew more intense as he spoke on these profound truths. The fifth proof, he said quietly, is about the nature of dreams and their connection to the afterlife. Dreams are not mere fantasies or random images. They are conversations within the soul. Sometimes different individuals in different parts of the world experience similar visions, as if a thread connects us all, pulling us towards a shared truth. He paused, reflecting. These are bridges between worlds, he repeated softly. They reveal that our consciousness is not limited by the physical body or the boundaries of time. The journalist was hanging onto every word, sensing that Jung was revealing a map, a blueprint of the cosmos woven from the threads of the collective unconscious. Think of the collective unconscious as a vast infinite ocean, Jung explained. Inside it are archetypes, primal symbols and themes that emerge across cultures and ages. These symbols, like the hero, the shadow, the mother, are not created by individual minds but are inherited from our shared psychic heritage. We are all carriers of this inner mythology. He gestured to an old, worn volume on the table. This is the voice of the collective, the ancient wisdom stored in symbols, dreams, myths, and stories. When we understand these symbols, we tap into a deeper layer of ourselves, the self. the universal core of consciousness. He leaned closer, eyes shimmering. When the body dies, the archetypes and memories survive beyond the physical realm, taking new forms in the dream. Worlds or spiritual planes. The conversation turned towards the idea of ghosts, spirits, and energies. Some souls, Jung said, remain tethered to the earth, stuck by unresolved fears, desires, or attachments. They are not evil spirits but fragments of consciousness that cannot yet move on, trapped by their own unresolved psyche. That's what we call ghosts. The ether becomes heavy with fear, pain, and unfulfilled longing. These spaces, these fields of fear, are traps. They can swallow those who are unprepared for the journey home. He paused, voice almost a whisper. But there is hope. When compassion, love, and forgiveness take precedence over fear, these chains can be broken. The true power lies in the mind and the heart, in the recognition that all is interconnected. Jung's face softened with a gentle smile. The ether is also filled with light, love, and memory. It's a vast realm of possibility, where souls can be freed through genuine prayer and compassion, not for some external deity, but for their own liberation. To truly understand this is to realize that love is the language of the soul. It is stronger than death and more enduring than time itself. He looked out the window where the dawn was beginning to break through. We live in a world that largely ignores the why of our existence, he said quietly. If we knew that death is merely an exam, an opportunity for transformation, then perhaps we would live more deeply, more consciously. We would see our pain, our joy, our struggle as part of the ongoing journey of the soul. The journalist took notes eagerly, capturing the essence of these revelations. The energy of the soul, Jung concluded, does not die. It simply shifts in frequency. Jung's voice grew softer, almost a whisper, as he revealed a truth that had been kept hidden for ages. One last thing, he said, is a secret I've never shared before. The room was silent, all eyes attentive. He reached for an old, mysterious container from a shelf, an object covered in symbols and carvings, reminiscent of ancient runes and diagrams. Carefully, he removed a small metal cylinder humming with quiet energy, a device he called the echo catcher. This, Jung explained, is a prototype, a device capable of detecting the energetic imprints of consciousness after death. Not voices, not images, just pure thought. I have received signals, clear messages, sometimes words, images, or feelings. I am still here, help me remember. He paused, gaze distant. Who they are, I do not know. But the feeling, the resonance, is familiar, as if I am speaking to myself or to someone I once knew. He sat back, voice trembling with emotion. The memory of the soul is the most precious thing we possess. We are born with amnesia, forgetting who we truly are. If we remembered everything, the pain would be unbearable. Sometimes just a fragment slips through. In dreams, in déjà vu, in a fleeting sense of knowing. The journalist nodded, feeling the profound truth behind Jung's words. Everything is preserved, Jung affirmed. Where? In the ether, the universal ocean of energy. It's like a limitless, infinite library, storing every thought, emotion, and moment, what the ancients called the akasha. We are all droplets of this vast ocean, connected, part of a greater whole. He looked into the journalist's eyes, emphasizing his next words. Think of every action you take as a note in a grand symphony. After death, you hear the entire composition, your life's music played back in full. No editing, no hiding, just pure truth. That is the real judgment. He paused, voice filled with gentle authority. And that judgment is not external, but internal. You are both the judge and the witness of your own creation. The universe simply echoes what you have set into motion. The room seemed to breathe, heavy with reverence and understanding. If the collective memory of humanity is true, Jung continued, Then even the most hidden secrets are waiting to be revealed. The moment one person remembers who they are, the entire fabric of reality begins to shift. He reached for the small cylinder again. When the first person truly awakens, when someone begins to remember, everything changes. Light enters the darkness, and the cycle of ignorance begins to break apart. His gaze softened, as if contemplating the ultimate mysteries. The world we see is just a mirror, a reflection of what lies within. The true journey is inward, into the depth of your own unconscious. When you connect with your inner self, you begin to understand that we are not separate. We are interconnected, expressions of the same divine consciousness. He took one last look at the rising dawn outside. And thus, he said softly, when the time comes that we remember our true nature, we will realize that death is not an end. It is merely a change in key, a transition to another melody in the eternal symphony of the cosmos. He handed the cylinder gently to the journalist. Keep it close. When the moment is right, activate it, and share this truth. Let others hear the notes of their own soul. As Jung prepared to leave, he paused and looked deeply into the journalist's eyes. We are not just flesh and bone. We are vibrations, music, light, eternal, undying. The soul is a melody that never ceases. Death is not a silence but a new movement in the symphony. He turned toward the door. Remember, he whispered. As he stepped into the dawn, we are all just travelers returning home. The path is within. And with that, he disappeared into the morning light, leaving behind a silent room filled with the echoes of truth.